Better education through innovations. That is Beti. Beti is a non-profitable public trust that was born in the year 2000. It was born of the premise that in the shadow of the events that make news and daily headlines lies a vast spread of sad and neglected lives. A turbulent world of muffled cries that go unheard and unattended. This is the vast universe of the 15 to 18 years old adolescent girls living below the poverty line. Beti's premise was that the lives of these adolescent girls are dismal and difficult, bereft of human rights and child rights. These girls are the most vulnerable segment of our society. They need urgent help. Beti Foundation began to reach the poor adolescent girls through education and livelihood. Over 5 years of its work with the girl child in Uttar Pradesh, Beti has found that the premise it started with is true. Indeed, the universe of the adolescent girls has many, many dark shades to it.
मेरे हाई स्कूल के बाद ही मेरी शादी कर दी गई। फिर 1 साल के अंदर मेरी बेटी भी हुई और फिर डाइवोर्स भी हो गया मेरा। मेरी सिस्टर मेरे हस्बैंड के साथ शादी कर लिया उन्होंने।
हमारी शादी हो गई, उनके घर गए तो कहते हैं कि तुम्हारे माँ बाप दहेज नहीं दे पाए, तुमको नहीं रखेंगे।
ससुराल में ये समस्या यही है कि अपने मन से चले जाएं तो मेरा गुजारा है, अगर नहीं जाएं तो उन लोगों को कोई ज़रूरत नहीं।
उसके बाद मेरा डाइवोर्स हो गया तो हम यहाँ चले आए। यहाँ पर भी माँ बाप का कोई ज्यादा मेरे साथ सहयोग नहीं रहा।
हमको मारी जो हाथ पैर बांध के घर पर डाल दिए।
मैं बार बार वहाँ कैसे जाऊँ और जाऊँ तो कैसे अपने जीवन व्यतीत करूँ। वहाँ तो एक चींटी के समान रहना है।
मैं जब छोटी थी 12 साल की, तो मेरे घर के नौकर ने हमको लेके बेच दिया है। 600 रुपये में बेच दिए हैं।
Biologically still a child, emotionally still immature, the adolescent girl faces some of the hardest and the most complex problems of life before she's 18. Her situation is more tragic and serious than we imagine. Of the HIV/AIDS infected population in India today, the largest single group consists of adolescent girls. The number of adolescent girls is vast. Based on the census 2001, in UP alone, they number over 55 lakhs. Yet, there are hardly any programs and policies that focus exclusively on the special predicaments and needs of these young child women. In this alarming scenario, Beti Foundation decided to devote all its energies to the welfare of the adolescent girl child. Better education through innovations. That's how Beti Foundation was born. The objectives of Beti Foundation are to stop the neglect and exploitation of the girl child, to get the girl child all that she's entitled to empower the girl child to participate fully in life. The Foundation's key strategy is to forge linkages with all the existing government schemes and other sectors like the corporates, the NGOs, the civil societies and the community. To use networking and linkages to leverage all the possible resources and services and to converge them on the adolescent girl child is the defining feature of Beti Foundation and its programs. All the Beti programs have two key components. They provide literacy and livelihood skills to 11 to 18 years old girls through alternative learning centers and vocational training centers based in UP and Uttaranchal villages. The programs focus on the girls of scheduled castes and tribes, other backward communities, and minority communities living in rural areas who have never been to schools. The alternative learning centers educate the younger girls of 11 to 14 through bridge courses. The foundation's objective is to mainstream as many of these girls as possible. Non-formal teaching based on innovative teaching techniques is the backbone of these bridge courses. The vocational training centers are for older girls of 15 to 18. These girls are given quality basic education and sustainable livelihood training. The Beti centers are functional only in those villages where no formal schools exist. This is Bhasa, a village in the Masauli block of Uttar Pradesh. A tremendous success story is unfolding here. The vocational training center here began with 30 girls. Today, informally, 70 girls are affiliated with it. The zeal, enthusiasm and commitment of the instructor Vandevi is responsible for the extraordinary popularity and success of this center. Vandevi runs the center in her own home. She was selected to teach at the center by the village community. This methodology applies to all the learning centers of Beti. An educated girl from within the village is selected by the community itself to run the center. This is an important key to the success of Beti centers.
बंदेवी जिस समय से इस आपके संस्था में जुड़ी, उस समय उसने ऐसा अथक परिश्रम किया कि लड़कियों को बुला करके लाना, उनको सिखाना, बताना, तो मानो लड़कियों का तो कल्याण हुआ ही, लेकिन मैं ये देख रहा हूँ उसके भी स्वभाव में, उसके भी कार्य कर्तव्य में इतना बड़ा परिवर्तन आ गया कि वो जिससे बात नहीं कर सकती थी उनसे बात किया, और उस समय से लेकर उस पीरियड से और अब तक की जब हम लोग अनुभव करते हैं तो बड़ा ही परिवर्तन लग रहा है, वास्तव में दिव्य बन गई।
Before setting up a learning center, a baseline survey of the selected area is conducted. After the environment building, the village situation is analyzed through PLA, the Participatory Learning in Action. All the important community members, the women, the school teachers and the Pradhan participate in this. Through a detailed mapping of the village, the target group girls are identified. After the PLA is over, a core group of 25 members is formed. The core group constitutes of the community members and the key frontline functionaries. The core group selects the instructor and identifies the space for the learning center. The block level and district level coordination committees are formed. Thereafter, the selected instructors go through an intensive 5-day training. During the training itself, they prepare the teaching learning materials they shall use in the classrooms. The tenure of a vocational training center is 18 months. The first 6 months are devoted to the basic education to develop the girls' literacy skills. In the next 6 months, the girls of 15 to 18 are given vocational training. Beti has forged one of its most important linkages with SEWA Lucknow, a cooperative devoted to chicken curry. The SEWA members come to the Beti's vocational training centers in the villages, and train girls in the basic skills and the finer craft of chicken curry. A 6 months internship follows. This is the phase for skill upgradation and refinement. Design support is provided to the girls. They also learn leadership skills, group work, simple accounts, benefits of thrift and credit, and financial discipline. This is the phase in which the relationship of the girls with SEWA Lucknow acquires a different footing. SEWA offers the girls paid work. The girls execute the work and get paid for it. The money goes directly to the girls. And what a difference it makes. In the last 6 months, the girls are formed into self-help groups and linked to banks. They can now access microfinance from the banks directly as a group. This is certainly a long journey in the short period of 18 months. But the girls do it and they love it. Today, Beti's learning centers are spread in 6 districts of Uttar Pradesh and 1 of Uttaranchal. 50 learning centers have been active in Balrampur, 50 in Shravasti, 33 in Barabanki, 28 in Sitapur, 20 in Lalitpur, 6 in Bahraich, 2 in Varanasi and 5 in rural areas of Lucknow. A total of 284 villages and 3 urban wards are covered under the Beti programs. The foundation shall soon be active in 5 more districts of Uttar Pradesh and Uttaranchal. We are now going through the faraway forests in Bahraich district on the northern frontier of India. This is the home of the Tharu tribals. Overdependence on the scarce primary resources and abject poverty marks the lives of these tribals. Such is the poverty here that the girls and young women may stand in waters for an entire day to catch the occasional fish to supplement their meager subsistence. Beti has brought education to this forsaken land. On the fringes of the dense forests here is the village Mothera. Mandvi Devi, the instructor at Beti's alternative center here, has just received the President's Award for Literacy for her contribution to girls and women education.
दीदी मैं महिलाओं को मतलब निरक्षर से साक्षर की और इसीलिए हमको इंडिया अवार्ड मिला है और मुझे बहुत प्रसन्नता हुई कि मैं आज इस योग्य हूँ.
The learning centers in this area focus entirely on educating the 11 to 18 years old girls through bridge courses. The centers at Mothera and the neighboring Navalgarh have mainstreamed 82% of the 120 girls who attended the bridge courses here.
तो सर्वप्रथम तो मैं सभी किशोरियों से मिली उनके माँ बाप से मिली. हमने किशोरियों के साथ बराबर उनमें रुचि ली, पढ़ाई लिखाई 2-3 बैच निकाले. उसमें जो बच्चियाँ निकली उनको 5 में 6 में एडमिशन करवाए, प्राइमरी में और जूनियर में. उसके बाद ये हमारी वोकेशनल इस बार है. वोकेशनल में अब यही प्रतीक्षा है कि हम लोगों को कोई व्यवसाय मिल जाए. हमारे यहाँ क्षतिग्रस्त से सब महिला प्रभावित हैं.
Mandvi Devi's story has one more dimension. She has just obtained a primary school for her village.
दीदी यहाँ सर्वप्रथम तो जंगल भी है और गरीबी भी है. जैसे यहाँ हमारे गांव में मुतेहरा में स्कूल नहीं थी, सोनगढ़ा में थी, तो छोटे छोटे बच्चे वहाँ जा नहीं सकते थे, जंगल थी. हमारी वो मीटिंग हुई अभिभावकों की, बार बार हर माह मीटिंग होती गई और इसी में हम लोग जोर दिए कि हमारे गांव में विद्यालय नहीं है, हमारे बच्चे बहुत ही अशिक्षित हैं हम लोगों को बहुत दुख की बात थी सब अभिभावकों को, इसलिए हम लोगों ने जोर दिया। हम लोगों ने वहाँ एसपी से मिले, मतलब जो हमारे स्कूल के अधिकारी हैं उनसे मिले गए और वही मंजूर हुआ स्कूल।
Mandvi's story illustrates the community-driven aspect of Beti's programs. The core groups play a critical role in managing and monitoring the centers throughout their tenures. Individual core groups have found unique expressions of involvement with the centers that range from monitoring to organizing competitions. For Alia, Beti was the opportunity she desperately needed to reconstruct her shattered life. Physically challenged Alia became a greatly loved teacher.
घर से जब मैं शुरू में बेटी फाउंडेशन में पढ़ाने गई ठकुरापुर, तो वहाँ के मास्टर साहब लेकर हमको गए, तो उन्होंने स्कूल में हमको कर दिए। इसके बाद में गांव वालों से बताया कि ये लड़की नहीं रहेगी, चलने फिरने में मजबूर है, और तुम सब लड़कियों के जो लड़कियां मैंने निरक्षर हैं वो लड़कियों को पढ़ाएगी, और लड़कियों का तो हम देखते हैं। तो सब लोगों ने कहा बहुत अच्छा है। गांव वालों ने हमारे लिए लड़कियों की व्यवस्था किया और खाना पानी की व्यवस्था की, और कहूँ जैसे हमको जाना है, मास्टर साहब नहीं है, हमारे भाई नहीं पहुंच पाया तो लेकर कहूँ कहीं चले गए। दुख देखे हमारे जैसे कोई हमको बीमारी हो गई तो वो भी देख रहे थे।
With the support of Beti Foundation, Alia has taken the entangled threads of her life in her own hands to embroider a new pattern. Beti knew it all along that the adolescent girls need much more than education and livelihood to participate in life fully. All the instructors of Beti Foundation receive training on reproductive health, nutrition, family welfare, and civic and personal hygiene. The instructors bring this learning to the girls enrolled in the learning centers. One day a week at the centers is devoted to building awareness on health matters. In the health segment, Beti has achieved significant linkages and convergence. The foundation has made tie-ups with the health department and with the adolescent girls schemes like Kishori Shakti Yojana and Kishori Samriddhi Yojana. The Beti girls go through a general health checkup every 6 months at the primary healthcare centers. Through convergence with ICDS, Beti has made free supplementary nutrition available to the girls. Folic acid and iron tablets and injections are given to the girls in consultation with a local doctor. Married girls get reproductive counseling. We are now in Jamnaha, in the Tarai area of Bahraich, bordering Nepal, where the turbulent Ghaggar floods the landscape and changes borders overnight. This area is prone to another overwhelming reality: human trafficking. In here, Beti documented the sad story of Gudiya and her mother.
शुरू के बता देते हैं, इसके बाद फिर नहीं बताऊंगी, मेरे कलेजा में बहुत दर्द होते हैं जी। मैं छोटा सा बता दूंगी थोड़ा सा। मैं जब छोटी थी 12 साल की, तब मेरे घर के नौकर ने हमको लेके बेच दिया है। 600 रुपये में बेच दिए हैं।
आप वापस घर कभी नहीं गए?
नहीं गए।
नेपाल क्यों?
रास्ता नहीं देखे हैं। जब रास्ता देखने लायक हो गए तो सोचती हूँ क्या मुँह लेकर जाएंगे। अपने दुख देख के हम अपनी बेटी को पढ़ाना
क्यों? आपको क्या लगता है कि अगर पढ़ेगी तो ऐसे दुख उसके जीवन में नहीं आएगा?
नहीं आएगी।
क्यों?
नहीं, वो पढ़ लिख कर खुद अपने पाँव पर खड़ी हो जाएगी तो नहीं आएगी। ऐसे दुर्घटना नहीं आएगा। मेरे जैसा घटना कोई दुश्मन को भी ना आए, भगवान करे तो।
Beti has also made the first ever moves to sensitize the police and the railways through whom the girls are transported. The interventions and strategies of Beti Foundation here are area specific, and yet they are a part of Beti's larger vision on the rights of the girl child. The Beti instructors receive legal literacy training. They bring this learning to the girls enrolled in the centers. The young instructors and the girls learn of the girl child's rights to education and property and of their rights within the home. They learn about the laws on domestic violence and sexual exploitation. This kind of non-cognitive learning extends into a much broader canvas at the Beti Learning Centers. Uttar Pradesh recently went through the Panchayat elections. Through its centers, the project teams of Beti Foundation trained the community to vote correctly. All these interventions of Beti are a part of a larger vision. The Beti Learning Centers are slowly shaping up as information and empowerment centers for the communities. The foundation networks with the existing anti-poverty and women development schemes to ensure flow of funds and information to the community. Through this process, community members have been able to build latrines in their homes that have direct implications for the adolescent girls. Vidwa pensions and housing loans have been accessed for the poor. The girl child is the primary beneficiary, but through her, Beti is reaching out to her family and the larger community. We take you to Noorbari in Saadatganj, Lucknow, where Beti runs a community resource center for children and adults. Reshma, a physically challenged young girl, joined the vocational training center here to study and to earn through chicken curry. Her rickshaw got stolen, putting an end to both the activities. Through the Beti Learning Center, Reshma was put in touch with the area CDS. She was given a new rickshaw under the government scheme for the disabled. For Reshma, this meant resumption of her education as well as livelihood. As a test program, Beti has been a success. Over the past 5 years, in the rural and urban areas combined, Beti has mainstreamed 6,339 girls out of the 11,285 girls it reached out to. It has provided vocational training to 706 girls. It has formed 28 self-help groups. In the process, Beti Foundation has learned that mother is the most important factor in the education of the adolescent girl. In most homes, as soon as the girl is old enough, the mother stops going to the kitchen, leaving all the household work to the young girl. This means that only if the mother is willing to take on certain roles that she had traditionally passed on to the adolescent girl, can the girl come to the center to study. Another important learning is that the adolescent girls prefer to learn through experience rather than the alphabet. The adolescent girls respond better to the learning that helps them solve the life problems. Recently, Beti conducted a study on the links between sustained livelihood and levels of learning. It found that the girls from Zardozi and Weaver families, where a minimum income is assured, attend the centers more regularly. They are better fed and healthier. They are more confident and look happier. Generally, the girls from the weaving families are good at numbers. They pick up maths skills much faster. The study also confirmed the hypothesis that the adolescent girls from the families dependent on the uncertain income from agricultural and non-agricultural labor are the most vulnerable. Their health, attendance and learning tends to be poorer. The study found that linking these girls with earning makes a difference. The families send them to the centers more readily. Their levels of learning also register improvement. Therefore, Beti has now decided to introduce the livelihood component right in the first 6 months along with education. Today, Beti understands the difficult and complex world of the adolescent girl child much better. The policymakers need to build on this learning to make programs that can address the needs of the adolescent girl child better than ever before. From the heart of Africa comes a beautiful saying, "It takes the whole village to bring up one child." Likewise, Beti finds that to bring the girl child all that she's entitled to takes all the networking, leveraging, and all the required convergence possible. The policymakers and all our partners and donors need to see that the Beti programs need to run for a minimum of 3 to 5 years in an uninterrupted manner to make all the required convergence necessary to improve her life. The Beti Foundation started with one overriding objective: to stop the abuse, exploitation, and neglect of the girl child. It has achieved much more. The girls have often shared that before they met Beti, they led slovenly lives. They bathed and combed their hair hardly twice a week. They slept a lot. Today, their days are different. The girls who couldn't hold a needle now make intricate jalis and execute exquisite embroidery. They have money to buy things with. They have things to say and they are articulate.
तब देर में सोकर उठते थे और थोड़ा काम किया फिर कहते थोड़ी देर में करेंगे, इधर उधर
कहीं जाना तो था नहीं पहले जी। पहले कोई काम जो काम होता था करके फिर सोने लगते थे, नहाते भी नहीं थे, कंघी भी नहीं करते थे, कपड़े भी गंदे रहते थे जी। पहले हम लोग को पता नहीं था,
जाना न था, यही घर के काम में लगे रहो बस।
The unkempt and sleepy girls of yesterday now try to finish all the chores quickly to be at the center in time. In the process of empowering the girls to participate fully in life, Beti has transformed the faces of hundreds of adolescent girls across a large terrain. It has added color to them and smiles. For the sleepy and slovenly girls of yesterday, Beti has been a wake-up call, a reason to get up early, to iron their clothes, to bathe, to comb their hair, to get dressed and to go out. Beti for them is the awakening of their dreams, big dreams.